Good day, everyone. I am Jover Sidamon, and along with me is my partner Christian Cabigon, and today we're going to present our report about the specification and basic estimates regarding concrete masonry and tileworks. Starting with concrete masonry. General conditions. The concrete masonry contractor shall examine all drawings, specification, and all conditions that has relation and may affect his work and performance in execution of the contract. Where any deviation on the plans and the specification is to be made, the owner shall be notified and his written approval shall be obtained before proceeding with the work. Scope of work. The work covered by this item shall include the following: furnishing of all necessary materials, tools, equipment, labor, and appliances necessary to complete the execution of the concrete masonry work as shown on the drawings and herein specified. All preparation for masonry work necessary to receive and adjoin other work, including provisions for inserts and attachments as noted in the plans and the specification which shall be installed under the term of this work. Coordination with all other trades in laying out and execution of the concrete masonry work, giving the work his personal supervision and keeping a competent foreman on the job at all times. Arranging for adequate bracing, forming, and shoring required in conjunction with and in the course of constructing the concrete masonry, although not provided for under other sections. Furnishing of all reinforcing steel for concrete masonry work and their placement, including those not provided for under other sections but necessary for the proper prosecution of the work. Arranging for the necessary storage space and protection for materials at the job site. Providing assistance and facilities for all inspection by the owner or his authorized representative as required in the course of execution of the work. And lastly, arranging for the furnishing test specimens and samples of materials as may be required. Material requirements. The following materials to be used under this section of the specification shall conform with the concrete masonry standards as indicated. 1. Cement to conform with the ASTM C150. Sand or fine aggregate shall be clear, sharp, well graded, and free from injurious amount of dust, lumps, shale, alkali, surface coatings, and organic matter. Lime. Hydrated lime shall conform with the ASTM C207. Quicklime shall conform with the ASTM C5 specifications. Quicklime shall be slaked and then screened through a 16 mesh sleeve. After slaking, screening, and before using, it shall be stored and protected for not less than 10 days. The resulting product shall weigh not less than 1,330 kilograms per cubic meter. Hollow load-bearing masonry unit shall be Type 1 Class A or B unit, conforming with the ASTM C90-70 and the Philippine Bureau of Standard No. 15-2, Series of 1979. Solid load-bearing masonry units shall be Class A units conforming to ASTM C145. All load-bearing masonry units shall have a minimum compressive strength of not less than 5.5 MPa or 800 psi based on 5 individual units when tested in accordance with the methods set forth in ASTM C140-70 or as tested by the Bureau of Research and Standard, DPWH. Units shall have been cured for not less than 14 days if steam cured, or 28 days if air cured when placed in the structure. Concrete hollow blocks. For walls and partitions requiring concrete hollow blocks, the contractor either uses concrete or ceramic hollow blocks upon the approval of the architect or engineer. The load-bearing of hollow blocks shall have a minimum compressive strength of 6.89 megapascal, computed from the average of 5 units based on the average gross area, and a minimum of 5.41 megapascal for the individual unit respectively, all based on gross area. During visual inspection, all units shall be sound and free from cracks and other defects that would interfere with the proper placing of the units or impair the strength or permanency of the construction. In sampling the blocks for the strength, absorption, and moisture content determination, 10 individual units shall be selected from each lot of 10,000 units or a fraction thereof, and 20 individual units from each lot of more than 10,000 units. For lots of more than 10,000 units, 10 individual units shall be selected from each 50,000 units or a fraction thereof contained in the lot. For non-bearing type of CHB, no sampling for test shall be required for less than 500 units to be used in the job. Testing. Units shall be tested in accordance with the standard method of testing masonry units of the ASTM designation C140 and or by the Bureau of Materials and Quality Control DPWH. No blocks shall be used unless results of tests are known and duly approved by the supervising architect or engineer. Reinforcement. All units shall be laid with a mortar composed of 1 part Portland cement and 3 parts of sand. Reinforcement shall be done in accordance with the structural plans as to size, spacing, and other requirements. Mortar and Grout. Cement to be used for mortar and grout shall be type 1, 2, 3, or type 4 Portland cement conforming to ASTM C150. Plastic cement shall have less than 12% of the total volume in approved types of plastic agents and shall conform to all of the requirements of the Portland cement per ASTM C150. Mortar shall be freshly prepared and uniformly mixed in the proportion of 1 part Portland cement, 1/4 part maximum lime putty, and loose sand not less than 1 1/2 and not more than 3 times the sum of the volume of the cement and lime used. Grout for pouring shall be of fluid consistency and mixed in the proportion by volume, 1 part Portland cement, 2 1/2 part minimum to 3 parts maximum damp loose sand, where the grout space is less than 7.5 cm in its least dimension. Grout for pouring shall be fluid consistency and mixed in the ratio by volumes 1 part Portland cement, 2 parts minimum to 3 parts maximum damp loose sand, 2 parts coarse aggregate where the grout space is not more than 7.5 cm in its least dimension. Grout for pumping shall be of fluid consistency and shall have not less than 7 bags of cement in each cubic meter of grout. Fluid consistency shall mean as fluid as possible for the pouring segregation of the constituent parts. Aggregate for mortar shall conform to ASTM C144, while aggregates for grout shall conform to ASTM C404. Reinforcing steel. The minimum requirements for the formed steel bars shall conform to ASTM A305, while reinforcement shall also conform to ASTM A82. Reinforcement shall be clean and free from loose, rust, scales, and any coatings that will reduce bond. Construction. Under workmanship. Masonry shall not be started when the horizontal and vertical alignment of the foundation has a maximum error of 25 mm or 2.5 cm. All masonry work shall be laid true to line, level, plumbed, and neat in accordance with the plans and to the satisfaction of the owner. Units shall be cut accurately to fit all plumbing ducts, openings, electrical works, and etc., and all holes shall be neatly patched. Extra care shall be taken to prevent visible grout mortar stain. No construction support shall be attached to the wall except where specifically permitted by the supervising architect or engineer. Masonry Unit. Masonry unit shall be sound, dry, clean, and free from cracks when placed in the structure. All masonry units shall be stored on the job and keep off the ground and protected from the elements of weather. Wetting the units shall not be permitted except when hot, dry weather exists causing the units to be warm to touch, and then surface may only be wetted with a light fog spray. Proper masonry units shall be used to provide for all windows, doors, bond beams, lintels, plasters, etc. with a minimum of unit cutting. Where masonry units cutting is necessary, all cuts shall be neat and true to line. Mixing of mortar and grout shall be mixed by placing 1/2 of the water and sand in the operating mixer. Then add the cement, lime, and the remainder of the sand and water. Mortar should be retampered with water as required to maintain high plasticity. Retampering on the mortar boards shall be done only by adding water within a basin formed with a mortar and the mortar reworked into the water. Any mortar which is unused after 1.5 hours from the initial mixing time shall not be used. After all ingredients are in the batch mixer, they shall be mechanically mixed for not less than 3 minutes. Hand mixing shall not be employed unless specifically approved. Bonding. Concrete masonry units shall be laid with the thicker edge of core up to provide a wider mortar bed. Both face, core, and ends of all blocks should receive a full bead mortar. Cross web should be mortared. For bonding masonry to the foundation, the top surface of the concrete foundation shall be clean, with latans removed and aggregate exposed before masonry construction can be started. Where no bond pattern is shown, the wall shall be laid up in straight, uniform course with regular running bond. Intersecting masonry walls and partition shall be bounded by the use of steel ties at 60 cm on. Reinforcement. Dowels shall be grouted into a core in vertical alignment, even though it is an adjacent cell to the vertical wall. Reinforcing bars shall be straight except for the bends around corners and where bends or hooks are detailed on the plans. Reinforcing steel shall be lapped 30 bar diameters minimum, where spliced bars shall be separated by 1 bar diameter or wired together. Vertical bars shall be held in position at the top and bottom and at intervals not exceeding 192 diameters of the reinforcement. Horizontal reinforcing bars shall be laid on the webs of the units in continuous masonry courses consisting of band beam or channel units and shall be solidly grouted in place. Vertical reinforcing steel shall have a minimum clearance of 6 mm from the masonry and not less than 1 bar diameter between bars. Wire reinforcement shall be completely embedded in mortar or grout. Joints with wire reinforcement shall be at least twice the thickness of the wire. Wire reinforcement shall be lapped at least 16 cm at slices and shall contain at least 1 cross wire of each piece of reinforcement in lap distance. Grouting. Reinforcing steel shall be secured in place and inspected before grouting start. Mortar dropping should be kept out of space. All grout shall be paddled in or vibrated in place. Vertical cells to be filled with grout shall have vertical alignment to maintain a continuous unobstructed core space. Cells containing reinforcement shall be solidly filled with grout and pores shall be stopped 3.8 cm below the top of a course to form a K at pore joints. Grouting of beams over openings shall be done in continuous operation. The tops of unfilled cell columns under a horizontal masonry beam shall be covered with a metal latch or special unit used to confine the front fill to the beam. All bolts, anchors, or inserts in the wall shall be solidly grouted in place. Spaces around metal door frame and other built-in items shall be filled solidly with grout of mortar. Rejection. In case of shipment fails to conform with the specified requirements, the contractor may sort it and new specimen shall be selected by the owner or his supervising engineer from the retained lot and tested at the expense of contractor. In case the second set of specimen fails to conform with the test requirements, the entire lot shall be rejected. Plain cement plaster finish. General conditions. The contractor shall furnish all materials, tools, equipments, and labor required in undertaking the proper application of plain cement plaster finish, as provided where plastering is noted on the drawings and schedules. Plastering work shall be properly coordinated with the work of other trades. The work of other trades shall be adequately protected from damages during the plastering operation. Finishing work shall be protected with a covering of heavy craft, waterproof paper, or other approved protective covering with lapped and sealed joints. Scaffoldings shall be amply strong, well-braced, tied securely, and inspected regularly. Overloading scaffolding will not be permitted. Material requirements. Portland cement shall conform with the standard specification of PSTM 1 to 150 Type 1 latest edition. Hydrated lime shall conform with the standard specification of the ASTM C6 latest editions. Sand shall be hard, sharp, well-washed, siliceous, clean and free from deleterious material. Water shall be fresh, clean and free from organic matter, acids, and alkali. Delivery, storage, and handling. Manufactured materials shall be delivered with unbroken packages or container which are plainly labeled with the manufacturer's name and brand. All cement materials shall be kept dry until ready for use. They shall be stored off the ground under cover and away from sweating walls and other damp surfaces. Mixture. Plaster materials specified on volume basis shall be measured accurately in an approved containers that will ensure the specified proportion. Measuring materials with shovels and shovel count will not be permitted. Mortar for brown coat shall be mixed in proportion by volume of 1 part Portland cement, 3 parts sand, and 1/4 part hydrated lime. Mortar for finish coat shall be the same as specified for brown coats, except that the proportion of the sand shall be increased to not more than 4 parts. Application. All surfaces to receive plaster shall be cleaned of all objections, dust, loose particles, grease, bond breakers, and other foreign matter. Plaster shall not be applied directly to concrete of masonry surfaces that have been painted or previously plastered. Before the plastering work is started, masonry surfaces shall be wetted thoroughly with a fog spray or clean water to produce a uniformly moist condition. Brown coat. Brown coat shall be applied with sufficient pressure to fill the grooves in hollow block or concrete to prevent air pockets and secure a good bond. The brown coat shall be lightly scratched and broomed. Each coat of cement plaster shall be kept moist for 48 hours after application and then allowed to dry. Finish coat. Finish coat shall be applied until the brown coat has seasoned for 7 days. Dust before the application of the finish coat. The brown coat shall again be evenly moistened with a fog spray. The finish coat shall be floated first to a true and even surface, then troweled in a manner that will force the sand particles down into the plaster. Plastered surfaces shall be smooth and free from rough areas, troweled marks, checks, and blemishes. Thickness of plaster shall be 10 mm or 3/8 inch to 12 mm or 1/2 inch. On vertical concrete and on masonry. Workmanship. Plaster work shall be finished level, plumbed, square, and true to line within a tolerance of 3 mm or 1/8 inch in 3 meters without waves, cracks, blister, pits, grazing, discoloration, projection, and other imperfection. Plaster work shall be formed carefully around angles, contours, and well up to screeds. Special care shall be taken to prevent sagging and consequent dropping of mortar during application. There shall be no visible junction marks in the final coat whereon day work adjoins the other. Patching, painting, and cleaning. Upon completion of the building and when directed, all loose, cracked, damaged, and defective parts shall be cut out and replastered in a satisfactory and approved workmanlike manner. All painting and patching of the plastered surfaces and plaster work abutting or adjoining any other finish work shall be done in a neat and workmanlike manner. Plaster drops or spatter shall be removed from all surfaces. Exposed plastered surfaces shall be left in a clean, unblemished condition, ready to receive paint or other finish. And lastly, after the work is done, all protective coverings of the cement finishes shall be removed from the floors. All rubbish and debris shall be removed from the building. In computing the required materials for concrete hollow block works, the estimator has to consider the following items: the quantity of the concrete hollow blocks, quantity of the cement and sand for block laying mortar, quantity of the cement and sand for mortar to fill the hollow cell of every block, the cement and sand required for plastering one or two sides of the blocks, the materials for CHB footing and concrete post as required. So, in computing the required materials, we will be using a table that shows the quantity of cement and sand for mortar and plaster mixture per cubic meter. It shows the class, the mixture, the cement in bags, either 40 kilograms or 50 kilograms, and the sand in cubic meter. As an example, we will be using the illustration in computing for the concrete hollow blocks, the mortar for block laying, the mortar filler for hollow cell, the plastering, and the footing. As we can see, it is a three-sided fence which has 8 meters length and 4 meters width with a height of 3 meters. In computing for concrete hollow blocks, we must first divide the height of the fence by the height of one block. 3 meters divided by 0.20 meter is equals to 15 pieces. Next is that we must divide the total length of the fence by the length of one block. The overall length of the fence is 20 meters and we must divide it by 0.40 meter. The answer will be 50 pieces. We then multiply the result of the first and second. 15 times 50 is equals to 750 pieces of concrete hollow blocks. Now, for mortar for block laying, we will use the average thickness of 0.0125 meter. First is that we must find the volume of the mortar. The volume is equals to the thickness, which is 0.0125 times the width, which is 0.10 meters, times the length, which is 20 meters. The answer will be 0.025 cubic meter. Next is that we multiply by the number of layers to get the total volume. The total volume is equals to 0.025 times 15. The answer will be 0.375 cubic meter. Lastly, we must refer to the table using the Class B mixture of 40 kg cement. We must multiply for the cement, which is 0.375 times 12 is equals to 4.5 bags. For the sand, we multiply 0.375 times 1.0 is equals to 0.375 cubic meter. Mortar filler for hollow cell. First is that we must find the volume of one cell. Volume is equals to 0.05 times 0.075 times 0.20 meters. Volume is equals to 0.00075 cubic meter. Then, we multiply that answer by 4 because there are 4 cells in one block. And that would result to 0.003. And lastly, we multiply it by 750 CHB. That would give us 2.25 cubic meters. We then again refer to the table using Class B mixture of 40 kg cement. 2.25 times 12 is equals to 27 bags of cement, and 2.25 times 1.0 will give us 2.25 cubic meter of sand. For plastering at an average of 16 mm thick, we first find the area of the fence or one side. 3 meters by 20 meters is equals to 60 square meters. Then, we find the area of the two sides by multiplying 60 square meters by 2. That would be 120 square meters. Then, we will solve for the volume. 120 square meters times 0.016. That would give us a volume of 1.92 cubic meter. Again, we refer to table using the Class B mixture of 40 kg. That would give us 23.04 bags of cement and 1.92 cubic meters of sand. For the footing, first is that we must find its volume. That would be 0.15 times 0.40 times 20 meters. The volume will be 1.20 cubic meter. Then, we refer to table using Class B concrete 40 kg cement. It would give us 9 bags of cement, 0.60 cubic meter of sand, and 1.20 cubic meter of gravel. After computation, it shall then be ready for the summary of materials. Tiles are thin objects, usually square or rectangular in shape. A tile is a manufactured piece of hard-wearing material such as ceramic, stone, metal, baked clay, or even glass, generally used for covering roofs, floors, walls, and other objects such as tabletops. One of which is wood tiles. Wood tiles are well-arranged thin small wood pieces in various dimensions with thickness ranging from 6 millimeters to 8 millimeters. Wood chips are carefully laid one at a time on a plain smooth surface concrete floor slab applied with a good kind of white adhesive or glue. Next is the vinyl and rubber tiles. The standard specification for vinyl and rubber tiles provides that it shall be non-fading, odorless, non-slip, even when wet, and shall be strong enough to withstand the ordinary tear and wear, cleaning, and moving of furnitures without damage, and shall be self-dealing. Another one is the cement tiles. Cement tile is a mixture of cement, sand, and water hydraulically pressed and locally manufactured in commercial sizes. Next is the granulatic floor. Granulatic floor is a marble type of mosaic floor finish that uses Portland cement as a base material. It has characteristics of durability, beauty, and variety installed by either monolithic cast or precast. Another is marble tiles. Marble is a hard metamorphic limestone, white or colored texture and sometimes streaked or malted in crystalline or granular state, capable of taking high polish. It is used in sculpture, furniture, toppings, slab floors, and the like. There is also the pebbles and washout finish. Pebbles are small roundish stone used for walls and floor finishes called washout and pebbles respectively. Pebble stone is mixed with pure cement to a proportion of either 1:2 or 1:3 mortar mixture, then applied on the wall or floor slab, is then washed with water to a desired texture before the concrete finally set. Last, but the most commonly used is the ceramic tiles. Ceramic tile is one of man's oldest unique building materials, continuously in use because of its durability, functional, and aesthetic properties. It is practically indestructible and offers unlimited choices not only in design pattern but also in color that does not fade. Ceramic tiles are classified into two. Glazed tiles are principally used for walls and light-duty floors and toppings, while the unglazed tiles are homogeneous composition, hard and dense quality primarily used for floors and walls. My groupmate Christian Cabigon will be focusing his report on the specification of ceramic tiles.
Material requirements. Ceramic tiles. Ceramic tiles and trim shall be made of clay or a mixture of clay and other material which is called the body of the tile, classified by ESTMC 242 as the degree of water absorption. Ceramic tiles and trims are manufactured either by dust press process or by plastic process, in which the clays are made by plastic by mixing with water, shaped by extrusion or in molds, and then fired. Glazed tiles and trim. Glazed tiles and trim shall have an impervious phase of ceramic materials fused into the body of tiles and trims. The glazed surface may be clear white or color, depending on the color scheme approved by the architect. Standard glaze may be bright or glossy, semi-matte or less glossy, matte or dull, or crystalline, or mottled and textured. Good resistance to absorption. Glazed tiles shall be used for walls. Crystalline glazed tiles may be used first floors provided till. These are used as light-duty floors. Unglazed tiles and trims. Unglazed tiles shall be hard dense tile of homogeneous composition. Its color and characteristics are determined by the material used in the body, the method of manufacture, and the thermal treatment. Unless otherwise specified, used unglazed tiles for all floors as indicated on the plan. Trims are manufactured to match wall tile color, texture, and to coordinate with it in dimension. These are shaped in various ceramic trim units, such as cups, bases, covers, bullnose, corners, angles, and etc. that are necessary for etching or making a transition between intersecting surfaces. Construction requirements. Tile work should not be started until roughings for plumbing, electrical, and other trades have been completed and tested. The work of all traders shall be protected from any kind of damages. Surface preparation. Mortar and mix for notch coat and settling bench shall consist of 1 part Portland cement, 1/4 part lime, and 3 parts sand by volume. Surface to receive tile must be level, true to elevation, dry, free from dirt, oil, and other kinds of elements. Allow at least 7 days curing of scratch coat and setting bed. Installation work shall not be allowed to proceed until unsatisfactory conditions are corrected. Thoroughly dampen surfaces of masonry concrete before scratch coat is applied. When masonry surface, apply first a thin coat with pressure, then bring it out sufficiently to compensate for the major irregularities. Other surface to a thickness not less than 10 mm at any point. Evenly rake the scratch coat to provide good mechanical key before the mortar mix is fully hardened. Installation of ceramic glazed wall tiles. Ceramic tiles shall be soaked in water prior to installation for a minimum of 1 hour. Determine and mark layout of ceramic tiles as to joint location, position of trims and fixture, so as to minimize cutting less than 1/2 size of the tile. Truly dampen surface of wall, but not to saturate the surface. Apply a bond coat mixed with consistency of cream paste 1.5 mm thick to the wall surface or to the back of the tile to be laid. Lay the tiles true to profile. Then exert pressure and damp tile surface before the band coat mix is initially set. Continue with the next full tile to be laid, and pressed firmly upon the setting bed thumped until flush and place of the other files. Intersections and returns shall be formed accurately using the appropriate trim. All lines shall be kept straight and true to profiles. Plumbed and internal corners rounded using the appropriate trims. The installation of vitrified and glazed floor tile. Before tile is laid to the floor, surface shall be tested for levelness or the uniformity of slope by flooding it with water. Area where water ponds are filled and leveled shall be tested again before the setting bed is applied. Establish the line of borders in the center of the walls at the fieldwork in both directions to permit the pattern to be laid with a minimum cutting of tiles. Clean concrete subfloor to moisten but do not soak. Then sprinkle dry cement over the surface and spread the mortar on the setting bed. Apply and spread mortar mix for setting bed and tap to assure cold bond over the interior to be laid with tile. Pitch floor to drain as shown on plans or as directed by the engineer or engineer. Pitch the floor to drain as shown on plans or as directed by the architect or engineer. Allow the setting bed to sit sufficiently, then spread a bond coat over the surface and lay the tile. Grout and pointing. Grouting and pointing. Before grouting a joint, tiles should have been laid in place for at least 24 hours. Grouting mortar shall be white Portland cement or blended with pigment to acquire the color appropriate for the ceramic tiles. Grouting mortar shall be applied over the tile by float or squeeze through diagonally across the joint. Remove excess mortar with a sponge stroke diagonally or in a circular motion after 12 to 15 minutes. Follow with barely damp or dry sponge to remove remaining haze while smoothing all grouted joints. Cleaning. Clean ceramic tiles surface thoroughly as possible upon completion of grouting. Remove all grout haze observing the manufacturer's instructions as to the use of acid or chemical cleaners. Rinse tile thoroughly with clean water before and after using chemical cleaners. Polish surface of tile with soft cloth. Protection. Apply a protective coat of neutral cleanser solution diluted with water in the proportion of 1:4 or 1 liter cleanser concentrate to 1 gallon of water. In addition, cover tile flooring with heavy-duty non-staining construction paper taped in place. Just before the final acceptance of the work, remove paper and rinse the protective coat of neutral cleaner from the tile surface. Do not let protective paper get torn or removed. Measurement and payment. All work performed under this item shall be measured in square meters for areas actually laid with ceramic tiles and accepted to the satisfaction of our architect or engineer. Ceramic tile work determined and provided in bill of quantities shall be paid for based on the unique bid price, which price and payment constitutes full compensation for the furnishing all materials, tools, equipment, and other incidentals necessary to complete this item.
And now, for basic estimate, we will be using the figure as an example. And from the same figure, we must determine the quantity of the following materials. 0.30 by 30 meter floor mosaic tiles, 0.106 by 106 meter wall glazed tiles, internal bead and capping, internal corner bead, external corner bead, ordinary Portland cement, and white cement. In computing for the quantity of mosaic floor tiles, first is that we must solve the floor area. 1.50 meter times 2 meters will give us 3 square meter. Then, we must refer to the table showing the size and quantity of ceramic tiles per square meter. In solving for the quantity of glazed tiles per wall, we must first solve the total lateral area of the wall. So that would be 2 meters added by 1.50 and 75 meter. That would give us 6.25 meters multiplied by a height of 1.50 meters. That would be 9.37, say 9.4 square meters. Then, we refer again to the table, and that would give us 805.6 or say 806 pieces of tiles. In solving for the internal bead, solve first for the length of the inside corner. That would be 2 times 2 meters plus 1.50 plus 1.50 meters. That would give us 7 meters. Then, the length of the 4 wall corners. 4 times 1.50 plus 7. It would give us a 13 meter. Then, refer to the table and multiply 13 by 9. It would give us 117 pieces of internal bead. In computing for the quantity of the capping, solve for the perimeter of the wall tiles. That would give us 6.25 meters. Then, add the capping along door jump. That would give us a total of 9.25 meters. And then refer to the table and multiply 9.25 by 9. It would give us 83.2 or say 84 pieces. Computing for the ordinary Portland cement for paste, we add the total area 3 plus 9.4 is equals to 12.4 square meters. Then, we refer to the table and that would give us 37.2 kilos or say 1 bag of 40 kilogram cement. And lastly, for white cement, we multiply 12.4 by 1. That would give us 12.4 or say 13 kilogram. That would be our report for concrete masonry and tileworks. Thank you and God bless.